What's going on, y'all? So I finally getting around to doing a whole breakdown on my newest song, Like I Never Met You. Super excited to tell you guys about this song, how this song came about, the production. I'm really excited to share the production, the music theory, everything. Like, this song to me is one of the closest things I've ever made that really, really feels like me. And that's very difficult to do if you make music, or if you understand that making something that feels like you is an extreme challenge. So for starters, I'm just gonna kind of go into the details of how this came about. Basically, Kyndall came over and I was like, Kyndall, like, just start playing some stuff. Like, who knows? And so Kyndall sat down and she started playing these chords. She played it on a Rhodes. So it was just that. So C minor 7 to D flat major 7. So she started playing those chords, and we just kind of just kept building from there, not really having a direction that we were going. An important thing to remember is Kyndall loves Quincy Jones. Basically, she started putting that down. I just got these drums. So then I just bought these drums from Jake Reed, Super Dead drums, I think is what the drum pack is called. So I just threw these on there. Little loop, loved it off the rip. So from there on, like, we just started building the track, and it was a very Quincy Jones-esque track because that's what Kyndall likes, and that we just were playing around. No intention of making a song for real, like, just playing around. So, like, there's even some horns. These horns did not make the track. I'll show you the horns though. Just didn't play. Yeah. So we had some horns on here originally, and everything, and all of that happened. So then I'm gonna fast forward, blah 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 blah. So Kyndall leaves. So I'm currently doing this thing right now where I want to finish my stuff. I don't want to just make a bunch of beats, make a bunch of stuff. So I just have stuff on my hard drive, stuff's not finished, or I never tried to make something of it. That's my big thing. So with this, after she left, I was like, I hear another direction on this song. And I want to just try to write something to it. Even if that song never comes out, I just want to try to write something to it. And so I've been listening to a lot of like Torrey and stuff like that. So I wanted to try to do the double vocal thing that I hear Torrey do sometimes. Never done it before. So I was like, cool. So that led me to all the production changes that you then hear. Basically what I did was I kind of switched the vibe up from this more Quincy Jones feel to a more indie kind of feel. And that's why I say, like, the Rhodes is gone, like all that kind of stuff. So now let's just start going through the production. So then from there, obviously I stack these pads. These pads happen in the chorus. Stack those joints. So let's look at the drums. So this is the way I kind of ended up constructing the drums and putting them together. So obviously the foundation of it was this loop right here. Shout out to Jake Reed drums. Foundation of it. And then, like I said, we were going in a Quincy Jones direction. So some of this stuff got added because we were thinking Quincy. So like these congas. Come on, man. When the last time you heard a in a song? Come on. That's straight Quincy, Herbie Hancock. Like, you know, that's the only reason why that made the song. Didn't even know that was in there till today. Just that now. I forgot I put it in there. Triangle, got some triangle in here. And then lastly, I ended up hearing, I was like, it would be nice if you put like a little bossa. It makes you want to dance, kind of do a little dance, a little move. So because of that, I was like, a bossa, like, drum machine thing would sound nice. So this is from the Count. I think I threw a flanger on it, so it has some movement. And then I for the most part, that's all the drums. I have a hi-hat loop. I think this is also from the Jake Reed pack. Nothing crazy there. But like all of that together That's part of the reason why I think my drum programming has gotten a whole lot better. I'm starting to learn what samples I should pull and how to piece together my samples to make my drum processing feel more realistic, like somebody's really playing drums, because somebody really is playing drums. So all the drums together, when you get to the chorus, sound like this. Oh my God, it just sounds like Marvin Gaye. It sounds like Got to Give It Up. It sounds like, I mean, blurred lines. Not trying to get sued or nothing, you know. So yeah, that's drums. I did the bass. I forgot about the bass. We did that day one. That was already in there. But the bass line, you know, something groovy. Nice. That's the bass line. So that same thing loops this whole time. There's really not a ton of things going on. I tried to be really smart with the choices that I made. I don't even know what this is. What is this? Oh, another thing. I'm thinking old school. So it's so funny because now that I'm looking at it, it's like I did keep a lot of old school things that come from Quincy, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson, etc. Like a lot of those things made the track. I just made them a little bit more modern with some of the other choices that I made. And if you asked me that, I would not have remembered that. But breaking down the track, I see it. This is like a clock. And then, what is this? This is the synth pad. Yeah. That's like the main little like motive. So like, as you can see, there's not a ton of stuff going on. It's literally drums, percussion, synths, bass guitar, and then guitar. One of the last things I did on the song was I ended up reaching out to my friend Stephen Harper. Shout out to Stephen. And I reached out to him and I asked him if he would put some guitars on this. And so Stephen went in, like, gave me all kinds of different guitar layers and textures, and which is what I wanted. That's why you gotta ask your friends for stuff sometimes, man. Like sometimes they know more than you, and you gotta admit that. And then like Steven is jazz, about to get his master's in his jazz guitar. So like he knows his stuff. So he has some open chords. So he has some open chords going on there, and then he has some closed chords. So like both those together. And then like you got to remember too, I already tracked guitars. So this is Steven's kind of interpretation on the basic guitar parts. I'm playing basic little bar chords. They seventh chords, but they little basic bar chords, what you think of when you think of this. And then like a little lead line, but he turned that into 5 different parts. And then I had this rhythm part, but nice, bro. And then he harmonized it. So, but when you put all 4 of those parts together, plus the lead part, like the guitar parts are an arrangement in themselves. Come on, man. Like they're an arrangement in themselves. So then that does most of the song. So going back to the story, so between the first time I saw Kyndall and the second time, I wrote a verse. I thought my verse was trash, and I had no idea about it. Like I thought the verse was. I was like, this verse is. At least I wrote something. I was proud of myself for at least trying to write something, but I thought nothing of it. And that's the verse that's in the song. Like, before the sun goes down, let me say this to you. You're the love of my life. So I did all of that. And then after writing that verse, I thought it was garbage, but I showed it to Kyndall. And then she was like, nah, this is solid. That's why sometimes I give Kyndall a lot of credit. And she's like, Torrey, you did most of the work. And I was like, yeah, but I actually really needed somebody to bounce ideas off or tell me that what I done was okay. Because sometimes you get in your own head and you're like, this is trash, and you close the book. And it's like, but to have somebody tell you like, no, that's not trash. Finish the book. It gets better. And that was really important for me in that moment, because I literally had given up on the song. I was like, okay, cool. I tried it. Moving on to the next thing. And that's why you got to finish your ideas, man. You got to finish your ideas. So yeah. So then I write that verse, and then Kyndall, she came over for a second time. And I told Kyndall, I said, I don't really want to, but I think we should write. I don't like writing. I'm a producer. I don't like writing that much. I'm trying to embrace it. And so that's why I said, I don't want to write, but I think we should. And so I was like, let's just see what happens if we write. So we sit down, we start writing, blah, 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 blah. I come up with the melody for the chorus. And I was like, I really like that, Kyndall. I really like that. And she was like, it feels like a pre, don't really feel like a chorus. And then we started trying to think about what we were going to say. And I was like, based on the first verse, I was like, I know in the first verse I was doing a lot of affirming. And I was like, but I think it would be, I was like, maybe it makes more sense if this is a breakup song. And we shift towards that. And then the second verse, I can go into more detail about the breakup and like why and like all this kind of stuff. And so that was basically my main thought process, was like, where is the song telling me to go? And I feel like that made the most sense, and I feel like I could tell a good story based on that. So then like once we decided that we were going to use that melody, so girl, dun, 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 dun. Once we decided we were going to do that, we were sitting down trying to write the words and blah, 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 and I stumbled across, like I never met you at all. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. I like that a lot. So then, by the time we had the chorus done, we were both like jumping up and down, because we were like, wait a minute. Like, we accidentally stumbled across something and we weren't planning on it. We were just messing around. So then, so that came about, chorus came about. So then we got these vocals. Let's look at the vocals. I don't even know where they are. Also, Kyndall's idea. She was like, what would happen if we format shifted your vocals? And I was like, sure, we could try it. So like my vocals, I even used a different one. There's a guy on TikTok, don't remember his name right now. But he makes a lot of music where he uses this M audio pitch. And not only does he format shift his vocals down, but he also decreases the width, which gives his voice a really interesting timbre. So I wanted to try it, because I'm not thinking that I'm going to put this out. This is just for fun. I'm just trying stuff out. And then I use a different, normally if I'm going to format shift, I always use Little Alter Boy. This time I tried to use the M audio, because why not try it? But yeah, so then we ended up getting like these vocals and then stacking Kyndall on top of my vocals. Oh my God, just.
So girl, what you wanna do? I'm not being rude, and no, I'm moving on, just like I never met you at all. I never met you at all. Met you at all.
And if you wonder why these vocals ain't super, super clean, it's because these are both demo vocals from both of us, and we never re-recorded them. And because I think sometimes as artists, we overthink, bro. Like, we do so much trying to, we overthink what we're actually setting out to do when we make stuff. And we're like, there was a time when I was like, I should have re-recorded these vocals. It's already in mixing. I should have re-recorded them. But it's like, no, like, the song is great. So don't overthink it, blah, blah, blah. I let it roll. And now let's get into what I think is probably the most interesting part of the song, especially to people. So many people have reached out to me about this section of the song, telling me how much they like it. And so let's go into the details on the bridge. So majority of the song, you have this C minor 7 to a D flat major 7 type of thing. Maybe there's some extensions, maybe not. D flat, C minor, D flat, C7. And so that song, I just remember the progression. So then I was like, oh, like maybe I can go to a C7, but instead I could take it to a whole nother key for the bridge. And that is where the bridge kind of came from. I was like, I'm gonna take a C7, and then for those music theory nerds, C7 is the 5/7 of another key. It's the 5/7 of F. So I took us from C7 to F major. So this bridge right here is F major to B flat minor majority of the time, then F major 7, B flat minor 7, And then I think there's like an E flat 7, major 7 in there somewhere, blah, 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 blah. So let's dive into the production for the bridge. So immediately, first thing you have a little line. Everybody plays a line. Everybody plays that exact line. I think the bass. Oh, that bass line. Let's just start on the bass. So let's just start with the bass line for this joint. No. So I knew I wanted to go somewhere different, and like we kind of been kind of laid back. So I ended up just playing and singing the song on my guitar for a long time. One day, just trying to see what I stumbled across, and I decided I wanted to take it up a level and kind of just take it to another level. So I ended up taking the same drums, but I like really chopped them up, like really chopped them up to change the groove. So now we have more of this, and I switched to the ride. So I went and got a ride. That's all that's going on there. So then the drums at the bridge sound like this. There's a little tom in there too. I forgot the tom is in. But now that I'm like listening to just the drums by themselves, they still feel very Motown-y, which I'm really just shocked. Like overall, like how much the Quincy influence is, because that was unintentional. And then so like basically I had that drum group, chaku, 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 boom, boom, chaku, paku. Like I knew that. So I was like, I want to put some emphasis. So one of my favorite artists of all time is Hiatus Coyote. I noticed that they have their vinyl on my wall right behind me, or behind you on the camera. And so Hiatus Coyote, they do a great job at just like rhythmic variation and putting emphasis on things that you wouldn't necessarily get that emphasis from. So I ended up making this bass line to the drums. So I basically putting the kick pattern together, that helped me formulate the groove. And then I just had to write a bass line that fit inside the grooves. And that's why I got this. Perfect time ain't perfect on there. Real stuff, boy. I'm shocked that I let that slide. Like the time is really not good there. So bass and drums together sounds like this. Woo! All right. So after that, I knew I was in a good spot. Obviously I just had this synth brass patch. Swag. And then this is when stuff started getting crazy. So I started looking for some more sounds and stuff like that. I need this to load. So I got that thing like doing upbeats. I have like a lead synth line. So that's not doing a lot. It's just kind of taking up space. And then so I knew I could move that around if I needed to. And then I started looking for another lead kind of thing. And I stumbled across this sound. So I ended up stumbling across that patch, and I was like, I really like that, man. And I was just trying to think of ways, because I felt like I needed to write another 4 for the bridge, and I was like, I don't have any more words to say. And fun fact about me, I'm a church musician, grew up playing in church, been playing in church my entire life. And when I would sing at church and ran out of things to say, I would start playing. And so I was like, well, maybe I could try to throw a solo in there. And I took this, y'all. Like I literally pressed record, and then this is the first thing. I played. And I was like, that wasn't a bad take. Because there's one thing I learned about myself when it comes to soloing. My first 3 takes are my best 3 takes. And then once I get after 3, I start playing terrible. I start overthinking. It becomes a mess. So that's why I kept the first one, because I was like, that's good enough. I was like, if I need to tweak anything, I could tweak the time of it or something like that. But I know every take after that is going to get worse. So I got this little Monotron thing. It literally cost me like $50. It's called the Korg Monotron Analog Ribbon Synth. I really want like a nice ribbon synth. This thing is cheap, but it's fantastic. I take it to gigs. I take it. It just makes noise. Like it's battery powered, so like I could play right now. Like I could. So I ended up putting some Monotron stuff together, and that's that one. And then I have some other Monotron stuff happening throughout the verse. And so when I first got familiar with stuff like that, I became familiar with it through Robert Glasper and Casey Benjamin, specifically Casey Benjamin. He used to do stuff like that with The Experiment all the time, and I've always loved it because it creates chaos. And some people may think that the chaos is like, it feels like chaos to them. So they're like, what's all these noises? And it's like, but sometimes you need that noise. And so for me in this bridge, especially with what I'm saying lyrically, it's like we're building up the chaos that they sit in. So all the guitars together, that's not what I was trying to do. Sound like this at the bridge. Come on, man. That junk goes crazy. You can't tell me that doesn't go crazy. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, overall, I really appreciate everybody that's been checking it out, that's been messaging me, that's been listening. This is one of probably my favorite song I've ever made. So I'm really glad that it's out. I'm also really glad to share my creation of the song because I just love the song. Like I really do from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that it's you can tell it's like contagious, that like, because I think as artists we should be trying to make stuff that we love. So yeah, so I thank you guys for all the streams. If you haven't heard the song, it's out on every single platform. It's even on my YouTube channel. Like it's everywhere you can find. I'm gonna be posting about it for a couple more weeks, so we not done talking about it. But yeah, I got a little surprise for y'all on November 24th with the song. Like we keep rolling. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions, something I didn't go over that you guys, something you're interested in. I'd love to share. And so thank you guys. Have a great day.